What's up guys, I'm Ross Thomas for the Brotographer.com, and today I'm reviewing the Kinotehnik Practilite 602s. So right off the bat, I want to tell you guys that this video is in no way sponsored or even really influenced in any way by Kinotehnik. They did send me out 3 of the lights to use and review, and I can keep the lights afterwards if I would like to, but they didn't ask me to say anything specific about the lights or trying to influence you to purchase them in any ways. They really wanted me just to review them and bring those thoughts to you guys. So that's exactly what I did, and spoiler alert, they're amazing lights. I really don't have much bad to say about them at all, but they in no way influenced me to tell you anything, and this video is not sponsored by them. So there's that. So when you first get into photography or videography, you're all consumed with your gear. You want to learn the tech specs, what aperture is, what shutter speeds to shoot at, and stuff like that. Later on, when you master that stuff, what you really learn and what you come to find out is the all-time most important thing that you need in every shoot, whether it's photos or video, is light. Today I'm reviewing the Practilite 602s from Kinotehnik, so I want to tell you a little bit about LEDs and why I think they're better than other kinds of lights. First, LEDs are much smaller and easier to transport than other kinds of lights, like incandescent lights. An LED, like the Practilite 602 here, is absolutely tiny and is actually built way better than those gigantic incandescent bulbs are. Next, LEDs don't get hot. If you're like me and you're shooting during the summer, or even during the winter for that part sometimes, I sweat like crazy. But with LED lights, they basically don't put out any heat. Third, I think the LEDs are just far easier to be battery powered if you're on location than giant incandescent softboxes would be. Fourth, there's just less power consumption. Now really the only downside of LED lights that I can think about was their price. Compared to incandescent bulbs, they're just much more expensive. So that background on LEDs leads me today to my review of the Practilite 602 bicolor LED Fresnel lights from a brand called Kinotehnik. You might be asking, what is a bicolor Fresnel light? So a Fresnel light has to do with this lens right here. Most common in stage lighting or big productions like that. What a Fresnel lens does is it allows the inner part of the light to be very bright, and it feathers out the light over the outer edge here, which allows you to stack multiple Fresnel lights together. So it looks like it's coming from one light source and they're just easily blended together. The angle of the beam of light on this Fresnel lens can also be focused by using this back knob here. One of the coolest features that I've come to absolutely love in these lights is that they're smartphone enabled. Kinotehnik has a mobile app that you can download and control every single aspect of this light except for the narrowing or widening of the Fresnel lens, the beam of light. But other than that, you can control the color temperature, the light output, you can turn it off and on, you can control groups of lights, you can control individual lights, I believe all the way up to 6 lights. The color temperature on the Practilite 602s can be adjusted from 3000 all the way to 6000 Kelvin. So you can pretty much match any lighting that is in any condition, whether outside, inside. If you have other LEDs, incandescents, you can match that lighting source and not have that nasty mixed color. The Practilite 602 has a super high CRI of 96. 95, I believe, is considered very bright. So the Practilite 602 is even a little bit above that. So this thing outputs a lot of light. For you video shooters out there, there's nothing more annoying when you're shooting 120 frames per second or more slow motion than that little flickering light. But these lights don't flicker, which is super cool. It's little things like that that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but that make this light absolutely worth the money, especially if you're going to be moving into things like incorporating slow motion into your videos. It actually has a burst mode where it can go up to 140%. Now if you choose that mode, it'll be much brighter, but the color temperature will be stuck at 4500 degrees. The Practilite 602 is only 4 inches by 7 inches by 6 inches. So you can throw it in your bag. It's much smaller than a light like a Profoto or even a Flashpoint Explorer 600, so you can throw it in your bag and not worry about it. Speaking of sturdy, this thing is made of high-grade aluminum, and the outer shell seems to be in one piece here. I haven't dropped it or anything, but this thing is far more well-built than any other LED I have ever used. Now the width of it is about the exact same width as what Profoto lights are. So you can use any ProPhoto modifier on this light, which makes it really cool. Having something that's cylindrical really allows you to modify it much easier. And if you already shoot with ProPhoto for your photography flash system, all those modifiers are gonna work, or you can just buy a ProPhoto speed ring and modify your existing softboxes. The Practilite 602 does come with AC/DC adapters, so you can plug it into the wall, or you can choose to have the option of mounting a V-mount battery, like an Anton Bauer battery for portable use. So there are a couple different types of LED lights. The Practilite 602 happens to employ a COB, a chip-on-board technology, which is a bunch of tiny LED lights on one single panel that gives the illusion that it's a single light source. When you buy the other LED panels that have tiny singular LEDs in them, they actually, if you look really closely, can give off little mini shadows. But with the Practilite 602, it's just like a photography light, so you don't get any little mini shadows. So here are some of the best things that I've written down about the Kinotehnik Practilite 602s. First, they're crazy bright. Check this out. I'm at 5% right now. It's all the way up to 100. Probably can't even see me anymore. And here's 140. I'm probably just destroying you. Anyways, they're crazy bright, they're gonna get the job done, and they also come with barn doors that allow you to control that crazy bright light in certain situations, so you won't get spill on things where you don't want spill. Next, the build quality. Made out of high-grade aluminum, the Kinotehnik Practilite 602s are the most well-built lights I've ever seen. Next, they're super portable. These things are tiny, they fit in your hand, they can be thrown in a backpack or a Pelican case. Probably my favorite pro of the Practilite 602s is that they can be controlled via my phone. So I don't have to be messing with the knobs here, especially if it's boomed up high like it is above me here. I can control it via my phone, change the color temperature, the output, and it just makes working with it, especially if you're a one-man band, super easy. On that same note, the temperature control of these lights is another big pro for me. With the LED panels that have the individual panels where every other one is a hot or a cold light, you lose a lot of the power output when you choose to go down to something like 3000 or up to 5500. But with the Practilite 602s, you don't lose any of the power output. So you're able to change the color temperature and still get a super bright output if that's what you need. One thing that I didn't know I was missing, but I really come to enjoy, is the Fresnel Lens on the Practilite 602. Like I said, I really didn't know what I was missing before using it, as I'd never used a Fresnel lens before, but having the ability to have soft light without a modifier on it, and having the ability to also change the angle of the beam from 15 all the way to 80% is really awesome. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but another pro of the Practilite 602 is these included barn doors. The barn doors are built really well and they snap on really easily and can be removed really easily as well if you want to modify it with another modifier. Another huge pro in my opinion is the fact that they made the Practilite 602 with a cylindrical shape, so you could put ProPhoto style modifiers on it or any other generic modifier that can clamp on to a cylinder. Honestly, the only con that I could think of this light is the price. I honestly wish I had saved that money and just bought something like this right off the get-go. So if you're someone like me who wants to buy something super cheap and have it work for a while, maybe reconsider that and consider saving up, maybe not buying that new lens or camera that you're fiending after, because light's really going to make a much more difference, and buy something like the Practilite 602 that's going to give you great results and it's going to last like 1,000 times longer than something like one of those incandescent bulb packages would. I really recommend the Practilite 602s to anybody out there. If you're a YouTube filmmaker, if you're an independent filmmaker, if you're doing interviews, if you're doing commercial stuff. It can also be used in still photography in a studio because it can be modified and it is that bright and powerful. So I highly recommend the Practilite 602s. Check them out in the links below. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this lighting setup that I have here with the Practilite 602s, let me know. I'm actually shooting this in my garage. You'd never know that. But leave a comment down in the description if you have any questions. Give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe as well. Also head over to Brotographer.com to read my review of the Practilite 602s that should be up pretty soon, a little bit after this video is released. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram. We're trying to hit 100,000 followers this year and we're getting closer to that goal. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Peace.